Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
This week we are discussing what makes the ultimate commuter bike and why commuting by bike is such a great option, because here in the UK today, it is National Cycle to Work Day.
We've also got loads of hot tech, including a new gravel group set from SRAM, the widest gravel wheels I've ever seen, Visma-Lease-A-Bike going all in on chain waxing, and we've got some of our Olympic tech observations.
Right. Did you?
Did I?
Cycle to work?
Yes, I did.
Good man, me too. Let's go.
Okay, right, this week is, today actually marks National Cycle to Work Day here in the UK, or at least it does when the show goes out. So I thought it was good to talk about what would make the ultimate commuting bike. Not only do I want to discuss that, also it marks 25th anniversary when Cycle to Work schemes were launched here in the UK, which I think is quite significant.
What is a Cycle to Work scheme, Alex?
It's an initiative that allows you to pay for your bike from your pre-tax salary, effectively meaning more of your money goes on a new bike rather than paying for tax.
Yeah, so you get a massive discount, basically.
Yeah, you get a big discount.
Yeah, all right then. This is a subject close to my heart because I've been commuting to work by bike for 11 years now.
You're like a seasoned pro.
Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts on this subject. I think the first thing is, what does your commute look like, okay?
Yeah.
Because I have several, and therefore I want several commuter bikes.
How can you have several commutes? The office doesn't move.
No, so it depends how I want to get there. So
okay, right.
I've got the road route,
yeah,
where it's just a fast road ride, and that requires a certain type of bike.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also a really good gravel route, but I don't want to ride my gravel bike on the road all the time because it's about 4k an hour slower on my commute.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact that some days I just want to catch the train, in which case I need a Brompton.
Fair.
Yeah.
I feel like an all-road bike is what you need. I don't want to categorise it quite like that, but I think what you're saying, I'm thinking of how your commute looks is kind of the first deciding point. But I already know that you probably don't commute on what I would deem would be the best bike for you. You've got a full-on race bike.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, yeah. Whether it's a Pinarello Dogma or it's a Canyon Aeroad or it's an Orbea Orca, those are my three road bike choices for my commute. And although mudguards are sensible,
yeah,
I actually decided long ago for my commute that I wouldn't bother. I'd just get a wet bum. I just don't like mudguards. They're great, and I think that people who have mudguards, it's a really good decision to make. But personally, just don't want them.
I'm kind of lost for words on that, actually.
Yeah?
Well, one of the first things I was going to categorically say for a commuting bike is having mudguards. That's right, we're divided on that then.
On my Brompton, I need mudguards, but when I get to work in Lycra, I just take the Lycra off and it dries by the time I come home again.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so blank slate, what kind of... Okay, let's talk... Forget about the Brompton and the train option.
Right,
we're disregarding that.
Yeah.
Blank slate, what frame kind of material and what type of bike are you going to go for then?
Well, leaving aside the sheer luck and fortune that we have in being able to ride Pinarello Dogmas to work, if I was building a bike from scratch, I would get an aluminium frame. Okay. Not because I think it performs any better or it's more robust. I just think there's something cool about metal frames.
Yeah.
And I would go aluminium over steel for weight savings and because it looks cooler, in my personal opinion.
I would probably be inclined to agree with you on that, but on the cost basis, you can get an aluminium frame so cheap these days.
Yeah.
And from a practicality sense, 9 times out of 10 they're going to have mudguard mounts, which is great for me. Pannier rack, anything like that?
What?
We're talking practical. If you're commuting, you want practicality, don't you?
No, so this is the thing, right? So for me, my commutes are a moment of my day to savour. I want to make them as much like bike rides as possible, which means that I want my bike to be fast and agile and responsive. The very bike that I would choose to ride on a Saturday or a Sunday when I'm not going to work.
So you're kind of willing to compromise a little bit on making it the ultimate commuter bike to make it so that it would be more enjoyable.
Yeah, I want my bike to be as enjoyable to ride as possible, and I don't mind having, what's that? That doesn't weigh very much. That lives on my back along with a pair of pants, and a
They
t-shirt.
don't weigh much either.
No, mine certainly don't. There's really nothing to them. So I'd go for a lightweight.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you actually. I mean, I love all like the high tech and performance stuff, and I still think that's actually really applicable to commuting, because if you're into cycling, like what you were saying, you want to still get that feel and the buzz of riding your bike and enjoy it. But it also is really functional because it means you can get to like point A to point B quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
You can maybe leave your house 5 minutes later if you've got, say, an hour's commute, because I think the difference between a fast bike and a slow bike for commuting probably could be 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I totally get it if someone wants a pannier rack because they don't want to have a sweaty back when they ride and they don't want to wear a rucksack. Like, I totally get that, but for me personally, that's how I roll. Do you know what is an absolute must for me now?
I don't. Go on.
Disc brakes.
Why?
Because how can you disagree with that?
Because the conspiracy theorists out there, they're going to be he was forced to say this.
Because I'm more likely to commute to work in bad weather.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really bothers me about rim brake bikes in the rain is that horrible grinding noise when you pull on the brakes and you can hear your aluminium rims being worn away.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I mean, it's a few years back now, but I've lost track of how many pairs of wheels that I would wear through the brake track. That's
actually one big advantage of like disc brakes. Is that you could run really cool wheels all year round.
This is it, right? So you can run a set of really nice deep section carbon wheels so that when you get your bike out in the morning to ride to work, you go, oh, I love the look of that bike. And then you're not killing your wheels by riding in the rain. I
have got a sort of slight counter argument to that. It's because I've commuted into work loads over this last year. I've made like a big thing of trying to do it more instead of driving. And I've only got one simple rule, and that is if it's raining hard, I'm getting the train.
Why do you need mudguards then?
Well, because oh, I don't know. I've really messed that right.
Yeah, you have, yeah.
Well, but maybe that would mean I am inclined to like ride more because the weather is what puts me off.
Yeah.
But if you were going to ride like rim brake, like carbon rims, I think you don't want to use them in the bad weather. Basically, that was where I was going to until you really screwed up my mudguard situation.
Sorry, no, but I think there's something about a disc brake bike that feels a little bit more like robust. Like you can absolutely just cane it in whatever weather.
Yeah. But that said, so that kind of gives us a rough basis of what we would deem as the ultimate commuter bike. It's not to say that that's what everyone's bike has to look like, but you've kind of answered at the start that you wouldn't necessarily have the bike that is technically the best for commuting on. You would rather sacrifice that a little bit. And I kind of feel like I would be the same because that's how I do it right now. I know that I could have a better bike for commuting on, but I sacrifice that because I can't just keep buying bikes and bikes and bikes. And I'd rather prioritise having it for what I love the most about cycling. That's like those weekend rides and stuff.
Yeah. So when I first started cycling to work, I bought a bike that was your typical commuter bike. Okay, I put mudguards on it. It was practical, and I just didn't want to ride it anymore.
Yeah.
So that for me, that was the point where I bought what should be a good commuter bike, and it was not a good commuter bike for me.
I think that's probably a really important like takeaway point for everyone. Is if you're thinking about trying to build what would be deemed as the ultimate commuter bike, it might not be what you think is the obvious answer.
No, ride what you enjoy.
Yeah, there you go. Let us know in the comments section down below what you would deem to be the ultimate commuter bike. But also, we should probably run through some of the quick benefits of commuting to work, right? I've got some facts and stats.
Go on then, hit us with some facts.
Well, according to the Office for National Statistics and the Cycle to Work scheme provider here in the UK, there's a cycling to work is 50% quicker than driving in rush hour.
Yeah.
Somehow. 133,422 tonnes of CO2 is saved each year, people cycling to work.
That's just here in the UK?
Yeah, this is here in the UK. Cycling to work for just 3 days a week burns around 1,000 extra calories. Average person could lose 6 kilograms in their first year of cycling to work. And I'm blown away by this price stats here. Cycling to work, the cost of cycling to work, sits around £396, whereas taking the bus, £625. And if you drive, it skyrockets to £3,727.
Yeah.
I feel like a whole year's worth of cycling for £396 seems very conservative to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, it does if you're going to wax your chain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you with some more, actually.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. So, in a huge survey that was conducted of people who commuted to work in various different ways. So they rated how much people enjoyed their commute. So cars, absolutely like 0. So they didn't, people driving to work didn't enjoy it, they didn't hate it. It was just flat 0. It was just, they were completely ambivalent.
Like matter of fact, you just did it.
People who caught the bus, public transport, unfortunately, it was a negative perception. So they actively did not enjoy their commute to work on public transport. But the bikes, they were net positive. So the only way of commuting to work, actually no, pedestrians, walking to work was a little bit better.
It's under your own power.
Yeah, but bikes, significantly more enjoyable way of getting to work.
If you want to enjoy work, cycle there.
Yeah, and then also some huge studies have been done at population level in terms of health.
Yeah.
People who cycle to work effectively live longer, healthier lives.
That kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you drive to work, you are effectively sitting yourself to death.
I mean, that's pretty devastating.
It's true. Like, I mean, it is, like, fundamentally, it is true. It sounds a bit extreme.
Yeah, it does.
But I put it in those words for a reason. But actually, if you, like, statistically, one of the best things you can do for your health and longevity is to not drive to work, is to find an active alternative.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to say, like, cycling has to be for everyone, but finding an alternative to driving has got to be good, and using your own power and energy is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. That is one hell of a way to end the main talking point. Cycle to work, you're going to live longer.
Basically.
Right, it's now time for Hot and Spicy Tech, and we are going to kick things off with the Olympics because they're in full swing, and I thought it was cool to run through some of our tech observations.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one was from the men's time trial, wasn't it? And it was Wout van Aert rocking a double disc. Not seen since Laurent Fignon rocked a double disc in 99. I mean, probably has been seen a bit more recently.
Maybe just.
Nevertheless, it is absolutely allowed by the UCI, isn't it? It's just no one does it because it plays absolute havoc with your bike handling.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably helps that Wout van Aert is like one of the bigger, heavier riders compared to like someone really light and small using it. But I saw some numbers sort of touted around online saying that he saved upwards of 17 watts, which seems kind of mind-blowing. I think it's probably pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, because I also saw some numbers on Ollie Bridgewood's Instagram where he'd quoted his good friend Dan Bigham, who'd said actually it's probably more like 3 watts over a tri-spoke, which would kind of make sense from the perspective of why no one normally does it. But nevertheless, helped Wout go pretty quickly.
Also, in the men's event, Josh Tarling, riding for Great Britain, actually punctured early on and still managed to claim 4th place. But it does highlight that maybe without that, might have been in the mix of the medals.
Well, also, I did wonder, because Pinarello launched their new Bolide, didn't they, in time for the Olympics. Yeah. And he and Ganna both started on the new, beautiful paint job, new Bolide, but then Tarling's spare bike was a very plain black one. And I did wonder whether or not his spare bike was not the new one, whether it's his like standard Ineos TT bike. So potentially, not only did he stop for a puncture and lose 30 odd seconds, but he might have even lost another couple of seconds because his bike didn't have the cool little dimply bits on it.
Maybe that's actually talking of marginal gains, right? I want to point this out because lots of people are kind of sceptical of marginal gains. They go, it doesn't matter, no one needs that. But in the women's event, right, Anna Henderson took a silver medal for Great Britain. 1 minute 31 seconds behind Grace Brown took gold, but only 1 second ahead of 3rd place was Chloe Daiger. So if anyone wants to say marginal gains don't matter, 1 second, there you go, it does change the colour of your medal.
It absolutely does. Also, what helps is staying on your bike, as Chloe Daiger will have found out to her cost.
Yeah.
But anyway, good
also,
ride by Grace Brown, isn't it? What a way to sign out your career.
Mega
Amazing,
ride.
yeah.
What I think is also cool at the Olympics is we get this really weird like mix and combination of different equipment and sponsors, because some athletes are having to use equipment stipulated by like the nation, but also still using some of their trade team stuff. So we see like different helmets, different wheels, bikes and stuff like that. So it's a real different mix.
It is cool, yeah. It also really highlights the difference in the type of tech that's available to certain riders. You know, when you see like in the time trial, you've got like, I don't know, someone who rides for like a European World Tour team and the nation can provide skin suits that cost £1,000. And then you've got someone from a country that does not have a cycling background, nor do they have the resources to pay for it, and you see them in a flappy skin suit, and it highlights the inequality.
So I've actually said this in the past that I love all the tech and innovation. I'm all for it, push the boundaries of everything. But I've made one thing that I've said, I think the Olympics should be level playing field.
Yeah.
Every other event, do what you like, but I think that's the one where we should see it leveled out.
Yeah.
Talking of amazing bikes, when I was over at Canyon HQ a few weeks back for the launch of the new Aeroad, I spotted a very magical Aeroad tucked away in the corner. And I was told it was a special design for Mathieu van der Poel for the Olympics. Now, I don't know if it's actually even launched yet, because I haven't seen it anywhere. So
what does it look like?
I can't tell you.
What?
Well, it looks incredible, but in order to save me getting into trouble, if it's launched, then we can show you. Here's a picture of it. If it's not launched and we can't show you, you're going to have to watch the men's Olympic road race.
Can you just show me a picture on your phone now, at least?
I didn't take any pictures.
What?
I don't want to get in trouble. I couldn't, honestly. When they saw that I'd seen the bike, everyone was like, oh, there's nothing that. Don't look at it.
No. Yeah. Oh, man. Can I tell you an interesting stat about Olympic cost?
Yeah.
I think I might have trotted this one out before, but it's stuck with me, right? So I was fortunate enough to interview David Lepatian, the UCI president.
Yeah.
And he was saying that one of the big things about the UCI equipment restrictions is to try and keep it a relatively level playing field. And he said that the average cost of the equipment for, I think it was the UK, Denmark, and Australia and New Zealand at the previous Olympics in Tokyo was about €400,000 per rider. That's how much it cost for the equipment.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Versus 10,000 for the less developed nations, the less well-off nations.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you just think well, of course, how can you possibly compete?
Yeah,
in a pursuit or whatever. So yeah. Puts the UCI rules into perspective a little bit.
One more quick thing about the Olympics, actually, and custom bikes. Orbea have supplied their athletes with some pretty trick-looking custom bikes, nicknamed the City of Light. Do you know why they're called the City of Light bikes?
The bikes?
Yes.
Because Paris is the City of Light?
Kind of, yeah. Well, it's nicknamed that, but it was because it was the first European city to use gas lamps for street lighting. There you go.
Is that right? That's why it's called the City of Light?
Yep, that's it.
Way. Well, we can see those bikes, and they look great, don't they?
Yeah, they do look cool. I really like the fade colourway.
Yeah, super
looks
cool.
pretty trick to me. Right, next up in hot tech is this brand new gravel group set that I said about at the start of the show. Oh. I don't actually know much about this, other than I've seen the group set on some very trick-looking bikes in GCN Megabase. I feel like it's over to you, because you've actually filmed a video all about it.
Yeah, and do you know what I commuted into work on this morning?
Don't tell me that.
SRAM Red Axis Explore. Hell yeah. No, so it's really, really exciting, this group set, okay? The headline stats are, it is SRAM's first 13-speed group set.
Okay.
Now, having an extra cog isn't a huge thing to shout about necessarily, but of course, on a one-bike group set, which this one is, it allows you to increase the gear, the spread of gears, and also minimise the jumps between them. So it's a 1046 cassette. But perhaps the biggest thing about this group set is that the rear derailleur borrows or takes tech that SRAM debuted for their mountain bike transmission, okay? And it's really noteworthy because 5 years ago, SRAM launched a new rear derailleur hanger standard called UDH, so Universal Derailleur Hanger, that basically went to all the mountain bike brands and said, it doesn't make any sense that everyone has their own proprietary rear derailleur hanger. Why don't we do it like this? And so they suggested that you use the through axle as a way, effectively, of clamping the rear derailleur hanger on.
Like a real solid anchor point.
Yeah, that's right. So every bike brand can have the same thing. So as a consumer, if it breaks, you can go into any shop anywhere in the world and get a UDH. And anyway, mountain bike brands went, oh, this is cool. Yeah, let's do it. So they all did it. So it's pretty much ubiquitous. And then SRAM last year launched a new derailleur that used UDH to bolt onto the frame, so directly mounts onto your frame.
Yeah.
The various different
It's not SRAM, you haven't said it wrong, have you?
No. Sorry. That's a bit weird. I don't normally wear a watch. Anyway.
As you were.
Yeah. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So
the UDH.
The UDH. Yeah. So this derailleur. Various different advantages. That's what I was saying. So it's really strong. So the derailleur hanger is a weak point normally.
Yeah.
So it's super, super strong, and to the point where when this mountain bike group set was launched, you had people literally standing on their rear derailleurs.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's that same technology, right?
Same technology. Okay. But the other cool bit is that it means that every derailleur is in the exact same orientation next to the cassette, irrespective of the frame. So on that rear derailleur, there is no B-tension adjustment screw anymore, and there are no high-low limit screws either, because it's always in exactly the same place.
That's the bit that I remember when the mountain bike Groupset launched, and I thought, this is incredible.
Yeah, but also that UDH standard is super stiff. So you grab, normally you grab hold of a rear derailleur and it's got quite a bit of play. Yeah, there is none of that. So it's super, super precise. So anyway, really exciting. And gravel bikes are increasingly coming with UDH because the brands obviously knew what was coming. So that's really good. The shifting is faster than on mountain bike transmission. It's faster than SRAM 2x on the road as well, noticeably so. It uses the same controls and brakes as SRAM Red on the road,
makes sense.
which is great. So all the new ones, which is mega. And the other thing that I thought, which is a bit random, is how on SRAM Red on the road, the chain rings are one piece, basically. And they're also one piece with the power meter built in. So a few people were a bit...
I'm still, unsold on that.
Well, so this is now two-piece, but instead of using chainring bolts, the chainring threads onto the power meter spider.
So if you're incredibly strong, you might not be able to undo your chainring.
So apparently there's a special tool they can have.
So linked in with this, there's also some new wheels that have launched, right? So I said this at the start of the show, quite possibly the widest internal rim width that I have ever seen before.
32 millimeters wide internally. So Zipp, who are SRAM's stablemates, have launched 303 Explore wheels, and so 32 mil wide internally. To the extent where they have designed bespoke tyres to go with them.
I'm not surprised.
With Goodyear, and actually they're currently undergoing a certification process for gravel tyres on the market. So they're saying that you can't use whatever tyres you want. They've got to be certified. It's a double certification process. So Zipp test them, and then they give them to the tyre manufacturers to test as well to make sure everyone's happy. The idea is that it's mega aero because you've got such a wide rim bed, so the tyre sidewalls are super straight, no light bulbs going on. External rim width is 40 mil, but what's super cool from a bling perspective is that in order to keep them aero, they've had to make them deeper, so they're 54 millimeters deep.
Big deep boys on the gravel.
Oh my word, they look sweet.
Love that. Well, actually, if you do want to find out all of the information, I know Si's given a lot of it away there. You've made a video all about it over on GCN.
That's it, Head over to GCN and you can indulge in what is, for me, I think, one of the most exciting tech releases of the year.
Okay, fair. I feel like the next bit of tech I'm excited about, but I feel like you might not be quite so excited.
It's not mudguards, is it?
It's not mudguards, but it is chain waxing.
No, to be fair, I'm all in for chain waxing. I just haven't really got... Well, as in I haven't got the time to spend on it, but I liked it when you waxed my chain for the Bronson World.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did. It was cool.
I'm actually really happy about that. Right, so Silca have now teamed up with Visma-Lease-A-Bike, and they are now the lubricant and bike care partner. So this is a big announcement for Silca, but also for chain waxing in general, I think, because whilst lots of people love it, I love chain waxing, Ollie loves chain waxing, it hasn't really been like a massive thing in the world tour, and I think that's because of, kind of like you said, the time and the extra prep and involvement to it. So I think this is going to be one of the sort of interesting developments to see how this like partnership evolves, because I know Josh has already spoken from Silca, has spoken about his sort of interest in trying to work with the mechanics to try and make the process like as smooth and seamless as possible. But clearly Visma-Lease-A-Bike are a team that are like really dialed in and set on finding all these little gains, so they're obviously a believer in it. So I think it's cool, right? Yeah,
I think it absolutely is cool. I mean, how can you simplify the process?
I don't know, but I think... Well, I mean, I just don't know, basically. But I think it's probably trying to make it more like simplified on scale. Like the process is simple. I think what doesn't necessarily work that great for a welder team is the scale element of it. So maybe they're not going to be using like one individual chain waxing pot and doing them one at a time. I think they're going to be doing them in big batches. Do you think there will ever be a day that you are going to be a wax chain convert?
I think it's one of those things where I would like to do.
Yeah.
A bit like how I don't really have that much time for reading books anymore. I really like to read books, but I haven't got that much time. So I'm going to add it to the list of things that I will do when I have more time.
Okay.
And I'll be like, oh yeah, now I've got to that point now in my life where I can actually wax my chain.
As much as I love chain wax, and I think if you do end up with some spare time, probably prioritise reading books first.
Well, I mean, it's less about what I do in my spare time and more about, like what gets sacrificed on the altar of chain waxing. It would be like eating, probably. And I prefer food.
Okay, right. And then finally in Hot Tech, we've got two not really techie bits of news, actually. First up, the GCN Bike Insurance that we launched a little while ago has now extended across to the USA. So this gives you, it allows you to insure your bike against theft and accidental damage as well, and is a good way of getting peace of mind for when you've got an expensive bike or bikes, which I think is pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So that GCN Insurance now is available in the UK and the USA. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. And I kind of think it is techie, right? Because the more time and money and emotion that you invest into your bikes, the more valuable they become, right?
Yeah.
And the thought of something getting stolen and not being compensated for it, or having an issue when you're out and about.
It's something I've actually looked into more recently, and I think is a good thing, because it's easy to overlook the fact that your normal home insurance doesn't tend to cover your bikes, especially not when they're expensive.
Especially not when they're expensive, no.
Right, and then actually diving back to the Olympics ever so slightly, I got an email the other day highlighting what was deemed to be the most dangerous Olympic sport. I don't know if you saw this same email.
No, what was this?
So, according to a recent study, BMX has emerged as the most dangerous Olympic sport with a 34.38% injury rate. Do you want to know what is deemed as the safest sport in the Olympics?
It's not something ironic like shooting, is it?
No, it's not, but it was in the top 10 of the safest.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Canoe slalom is the safest.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like whitewater kayaking?
That type of thing, yeah.
No.
Only a 1.2% injury rate.
There you go.
Bizarrely, a betting company called Casino Rarity compiled and analysed all this data from a study conducted from the British Journal of Sports Medicine.
There you go. I tell you what was a dangerous sporting event in the Olympics this year. It was the time trial. Particularly because they let a triathlete in and she crashed 3 times, and then a mechanic crashed as well. Did you not see that?
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
I actually felt really sorry for them because...
Oh, I did too. It was awful.
Yeah. Anyway, right, more Hot Tech next week.
Comments of the week now. We're going to start with comments from under last week's Tech Show. This one from CW42 YouTube. Next time you do a video describing something like the new Hope Lotus track bike, show more than a 1-second picture of it. It's a visual medium, YouTube, not a podcast.
People were upset about that, actually.
Yeah.
Isaac, if that was you, a little bit longer on the pictures.
Yeah, oversight on our part.
Yeah, Flashback Jack says, you all should have started in your own backyard. The Dolan DF5 is the absolute cheapest track bike out of all of them. £4,700 for a complete bike, including the wheels. Apparently they overlooked that bike in the cheapest to most expensive Olympic bikes.
Well, yeah, for an Olympic bike, £4,700 doesn't sound that bad, does it?
Relative bargain.
Yeah, in the context of 400,000 or something.
Yeah. So also the weekend we had a video that Ollie did all about the bike sizing and what to do if you're like in between 2 different sizes. Buster.Keaton says, I'd like to encourage more riders to buy large bicycles, particularly 58 centimetres, so I'll finally have a decent selection of used bikes to choose from. There's plenty of 56s and smallers, but large bikes are a little bit more scarce on the used market. Yeah, good comment.
Yeah, I like that one, Buster. Well done. And then 12 Joe G7665 said, sizing down is better than sizing up for most people. The reality is that you can easily adjust a bike that's slightly too small to fit like a glove. Riding a bigger bike is just heavier, less stiff, and offers less adjustability for those in between sizes. Well, I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. Yeah, you can make small bikes bigger.
Yeah.
But if you're going to buy a bike, why not just buy the right size?
Actually, that's a good point.
Because if you are making a small bike bigger, you are changing the way that
they're like handles and okay.
And it might be that you like riding a bike with a long stem. I like it. I like a 12 centimetre stem on most road bikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know.
Get it right first time is the best solution.
Yes, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so also the weekend, I made this video that I've been wanting to make for a little while, all about cheap bikes, celebrating them, what they're good for, the advantages and stuff like that. Unfortunately, not actually that many people have watched it, but of the people that have watched it, everyone was very positive about it.
That's cool, man.
Ray C4543 says, this is the kind of video I want to see from GCN, as I'll never be able to afford a super bike. Fair.
Yeah, there you go. And then Dave Mays, 2192, said, it's nice to see the focus of GCN has shifted to what ordinary people may be looking for in a bike. Also, what they can afford. Well done. New subscriber here. Thank you. Well, thanks, Dave. Welcome along.
Well, we do try to cater for everybody, don't we? But
do
I've got to
indeed.
say, I do love the new expensive tech. It's really cool, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Which leads us on to the Bike Vault, actually, which is the part of the show where you can upload pictures of your bike to the Bike Vault. Click on the link in the description down below, and then we will judge them to be either nice or super nice. If they're super nice, I ring the bell slightly better than that.
Nice. All right, then, let's kick things off then, shall we, with Shazzy 90. This absolute beauty. S-Works Venge in Tinkoff / Peter Sagan colours. It's a 54 centimetres, so that, that guy further up can't buy it. 11-speed SRAM red, the lightest ever group set. Remember?
Yeah.
And what else we've got? Fast forward wheels. Everyday wheels are head Ardennes. But
I really like the paint job on this bike.
Oh, I do. I remember when they rocked that out.
It's cool.
Very cool indeed. Well, yeah. I mean, in terms of the criteria that you guys judge your bikes by, it's not in the big chain ring.
It's not doing great, is it?
But I'm gonna say that for me, in principle, that is a super nice bike.
Shall we sort of relax the rules a bit this week and just go with what our heart says?
Oh, I'd love to, mate. That sounds beautiful.
Let's just do it. Jacob's laughing over there. Look at Jacob.
It's quite a romantic approach, isn't it?
Super nice.
Do you know what that bike looks like? It'd be absolutely mega for?
I don't know.
Commuting to work, mate. That is right up there. Apart from the rim brakes, that's an absolute banger.
Yeah, and my guards, lack of my guards. Even though I don't ride in the rain. I can't believe I said that. Whatever. Frank Main Street with a Cipollini RB1K next. This is a pretty slick looking bike.
Wowzers.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, also it's being held up using a shadow stand.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I can't even see it.
You can zoom in. By the power of technology, you can zoom in.
Yeah, well, that feels like that's defeating the point with shadow stand. No, that is very cool, isn't it? It looks well tricked out, doesn't it?
Very small size, I'm going to say.
Campagnolo Super Record. That is a good era of Campagnolo Super Record as well. Mechanical
rim brake.
Yeah,
Love that.
I love it. That's super
nice
cool,
in
isn't it?
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, by your criteria, the cranks aren't level and whatnot, but
we quite literally made the rules up today.
bring it on.
What is going on with the bell? I left Connor and Ollie here with the bell last week. Whatever.
Right, Ricardo Lopez. This is a bit of a classic. A Japanese Nishiki from 1986. Equipped with high-end parts from the same era. I was. Shimano 106 brakes. I've never heard of Shimano 106.
I'm assuming that's a typo.
Yeah, here in the background, a traditional farm in the mountains of Colombia, where I ride every weekend from the city. I love my bike. So, yeah, that's very cool, isn't it?
That is cool. I've got to be honest, I'm not sure I can relax the rules enough to let a non-drive side image through.
No, but that is, the fact that, they're riding that bike.
Yeah, that is really cool.
In Colombia, that is very cool. So,
there is something cool about that kind of old school retro looking bike.
Totally.
Yeah. Right, okay. Well, nice. Next time, take a picture.
Turn the picture around. Yeah, okay.
Ed J. K. next. So they took off the fenders and the rack off of their Spa Cycles touring bike so they could enjoy it over the summer. Thought it brushed up pretty well. Attempting to try and get steel frame into the Bike Vault. Well, here you go.
Second steel frame of the week.
Yeah. I gotta say, the bar tape is really not doing it for me. And I know I've had some very questionable choices of bar tape and saddle colour in the past.
In the very recent past. Let's not get onto that now, shall we?
Yeah.
I think that's cool, though, isn't it? It's not often you see a touring bike
triple chainring.
Yeah, laid back mode like that. But no, that is a super cool looking bike, isn't it? Particularly those mini V brakes as well.
Yeah. Are triple chainrings underrated, or do you think they'll ever make a comeback? Not sure they will.
I think cycle touring is the one place you need
good
triple
use
chainrings.
case.
Yeah, for sure. Where you need a gear that allows you to lug.
Quite ironic having just spoken about a 1x13 group set.
Well, this is true, yeah.
I want to super nice that, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's cool.
Got a major malfunction with the bell.
Right. Nice.
Joe Mo, right, this will be our last one from Joe Mo. It's a Bianchi on a big shaft or pipe, apparently. Need I say any more, is what they say.
That is a nice looking bike, isn't it?
That's got to be a super nice.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Like, in terms of all the little bits, like the valves lining up and the cranks and the biggie smalls, and the fact that it is a super nice looking bike. I'm liking that rotor chain set as well.
Yeah, that's pretty slick, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to super nice this. Yeah, end on a high.
Yeah. What groups is that? A Shimano? Yeah, it's a Shimano group set, isn't it?
Is it a new Ultegra? I think it might be 12-speed Ultegra. I can't quite tell.
Yeah, but with Campagnolo wheels.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, all right, super nice.
There you go.
Have to give the Bella service for next week. But
there you go. Put some wax on it, maybe.
Yeah, right. That's going to let's wrap this week's show up. Si, it's been mega having you.
Thanks for having me.
Sitting in for Ollie while he's on his holiday. If you enjoyed the show, let us know in the comments section down below. Also, let us know about your ultimate commuting bike as well. Yeah,
and make sure you head over to GCN to check out that SRAM Red Axis Explore and Zipp 303 Explore video as well.
Boom. Right, we're out of here. Thanks, bye.